involvement. One, the content has to be unique. It has to be very, very interesting, and has to be buzzworthy, right? Once you have those three elements together with your emotional stuff, then much more, then you have a better chance to succeed online. And this is what the Magnum did, right? Let the user choose between pink and black, etc. Very involving, never done before, so it's quite unique, quite interesting as well. That I as a user can determine the color of the product. It's very, very involving, and that's what makes it buzzworthy. You know what I mean? So connect those two things, the involvement cues and the emotional cues, then your advertising has a better chance of success. The tipping point is, right, that now slowly brands understand that they are content creators themselves, or they are content developers themselves, right? Because audiences expect that kind of content to be seen shown on internet, right? So it's a combination of them, and Prami can talk about the concept of create, curate, and collaborate, right? Where brands, but there's not one single recipe, right? There's different approaches. Brands advertise, and brands create content themselves as well.
For instance, for specific content, and us as a Google try to engage with them, try to curate their stuff. So the question is, if the brand is going to build the content, then of course the brand will show as a legitimate, positive content provider. That's why we call out for the brand, for the agency to make the content that actually relevant to their brand. If they want to make it branded, that's okay, because Krishna have mentioned that the more, the bigger your name in a brand, the better, because we can see that, oh, that's produced by Unilever, for example, that's produced by Nestle, then it must be good stuff, it must be reliable. But once a YouTuber, nobody, for instance, like myself, for instance, make a content, then there's a question at the first time. That's why we have to engage with them. But if the brand have the guts or energy, or also investment willingness to kind of promote the YouTubers, that also can save the efficiency kind of bit in the brand side.
It is a great story, but the real story is when you look at the consumer goes to the mall, goes to the store, watches outdoors. So there is a lot of synergistic impact, especially the markets like Indonesia, where an average person can use 7 hours of data of content in 5 hours, which really means that there is a lot of multitasking tablet viewing happening. So that's exactly what we do, not only looking at reach, but also response, which really means the branding impact, what traditionally television has been really strong in looking at persuasion measures or brand image and things like that. The last part is we look at simulations where we say that we have to spend $200,000 less on television putting behind on the newer channels. What would be the impact, not only in terms of reach, but again, is it meeting our brand objectives?
But let's also be like in this group, let's be just completely honest, right? If you talk about reach, right, in this market, by far, TV has still has to give you the biggest reach, right? But that's not what YouTube is all about, right? So if you advertise on YouTube, you're not going after the reach, right? You're not buying a spot, you're not buying a pre-roll, you're not buying a preview, right? What you're actually buying, right, if you're successful, is an engaged user, right? A loyal user, somebody that actually wants to see your message, somebody actually wants to see your branding, right? And that's what you actually get. And ultimately, the ultimate test is that on your video, you can actually see how many people watch it completely. It's there, the count is there. Like what Prami says, within a month, right? That particular campaign, right, accurately said 5 million people viewed it all the way to the end, right? And that's actually what you're buying. You're not buying reach, you're not buying a spot, you're buying those guys that want to choose your ad, who's more engaged in your ad, so you have a better chance that they're actually going to purchase your product. Like if I chose the pink Magnum, when the pink Magnum comes out, I'm going to buy it. You know what I mean? Because I chose it, you know? So in that context, this is what you're actually going for. And it is definitely complementary to TV. By no means are we saying, we're there at the level of TV in terms of reach. right? So you still view for reach, but for YouTube, it's a completely different animal where you can be a little bit more creative, engage with your agencies a little bit more, right? And that's what you're actually buying. You're buying a user, right? Instead of buying just a spot or just a reach or just like a GRP point.
Only to be driven by YouTube. And the chances of us, the functions we have, you have to use other medium to drive the traffic. And I believe that consumer journey, so basically each medium, they have the functions. From the traditional medium to the basically digital space, PR, and of course the moment of truth, where we are saying the whole idea is you want customer to pick up your brand, which is translated to the market shares and also to the sales. But I think that in terms of there are two things. Content is king, true up. But how we strategize in terms of messaging based on that key is very, very important. And distribution is God. So I also believe that we need each other. So for us to function solo, for us to drive that big objective that the client gives us, is a bit difficult task only to do via YouTube. We need each other.
In a time where we need to be orchestrators of our brand campaign, right? So like an orchestra, every section has a different function, right? If we all play together to make nice music, if everybody flies solo, the music is crap, right? So us as marketeers, we need to stand in the middle and orchestrate every single touch point, media point, journey, and which media, which platform performs what particular task, right? To drive that overall holistic message forward. So as orchestrators, we are in this situation right now. And it's quite different than a couple of years back. Because a couple of years back, it's mostly digital as a, by the way, I have budget left over, let's do something on digital, right? That moment has passed. For the past 10 years, we talk about Indonesia is going digital or Indonesia is going mobile. Well, Indonesia is digital, Indonesia is mobile, and digital is already mainstream, right? We have 80 million internet users right now, right? That's more than the total population of Germany are online, mostly on smartphones, right? And did you guys know, right? Smartphones here, of course, feature phones are more, right? But that will pass. Let me tell you, in 2017, smartphones will overtake feature phones in Indonesia. 2017, mark my word, right? Where smartphones overtake feature phones. Currently, smartphones, 37 million smartphones in Indonesia, right? That is more than a combined number of motorcycles available in Indonesia. If you think motorcycles is mainstream, we have more smartphones than motorcycles. So smartphone is mainstream already, right? We are already digital. Now in that sense, building on her point, digital is no longer, by the way, budget over. Digital plays a core activity in the whole overall marketing campaign because your users are there already. Your users shifted, right? And I agree to your point. It's not that everybody has to go digital. Everybody has a role to play. Like TV has a role to play for your quick awareness, for your reach, and then you go engagement through here and this, etc., etc. Your path to purchase, out of home, etc., etc. Right? And that is a bigger task because the users are more fragmented. They have multiple devices. Where you reach them in what time of day is now very, very complex. So then you have to stand in the middle and orchestrate your whole, band to make sure that you're with your user every path, right?
For not just the likes of Google, but it comes down right from a client side. It's essentially how we become smarter with data. I think that's very, very critical because people are using multiple devices. So going back to efficiencies to start, so a single source panel of digital and TV, unless we get that rolling in market, you're never going to see a point where an advertiser can calculate real efficiency. So that's a starting block. As soon as we do that, then it's across all devices, how do we connect that? So looking at people's behaviors, so things such as when you buy your TV spots, I mean there's so much that technology has out there, but when you're buying your TV spots, for example, and you're buying your YouTube spots, how do you match that? So essentially if you're showing a creative copy on TV at a certain time zone or time frame, essentially how do you show a complementary message on YouTube at a slightly different time zone to actually complement between the two? So I think getting smarter in the data across devices and the messaging is what
goes back to that engagement of capturing the user. But I think the starting point is data, and it's unless you have a single source panel of the ability to calculate across everything, you never really see that real, true takeoff in terms of budget moving over from TV to that.
If you want to target the workers or the young dynamic style, it's at night, and then the housewife and stuff, right? In Indonesia, actually, on YouTube, the peak for us is actually weekdays. And guess which time? Specifically? No. Lunch hour. Lunch hour weekdays, you see a definite spike in people watching YouTube. So then you see actually those guys in the offices, and those hard to reach guys that never watches TV actually goes on YouTube on lunch hours. So that's actually where you need to target those messages if you want to target the workforce. You actually see a big spike, lunch hour. In the office. Yeah, because traditionally the office is better internet connection than at home. So that's actually our peak hour, right? 12 to 1 weekdays.
TV station, 1-5 TV station. So the brand might not have enough budget to spend to place on those TV stations. So being a complementary platform is also important for us. So I keep saying that I don't dare to say that we're competing against TV, but we are complementing TV. Because we cannot actually defeat them, not.
Our platform ultimately drives action, right? Drives action. So whether it is, click through to your website or get more information, etc., and you can track every single path, right? Whether from watching the ad, do they click on the ad, do you put annotations in it, is there a call to action, etc., etc. How many comments were there? All that stuff we can track. And that would make, that will close the loop in terms of engagement. And that's what's actually drive the whole digital space. Give them that respect, give them that choice, and create great creatives, right? If you do that, you don't have to be afraid of your brand. I mean, like, branding is not the enemy of great creatives, or something like that, right? So, put it out there. Great creators, put your brand out there. People will love it for you. You know what I mean? They love it.
About who's actually watching and engaging much more than any other TV station could possibly tell me. So that would convince me further to put money in YouTube other than putting it on some other channel that I don't really know where it's like, if I have a limited budget.
We actually, if we calculate the views, like Indonesia, in a month we have 7.2 million unique views in a month on average on YouTube. And the consumption duration every time you log into YouTube is 24 minutes to 7 to 8 videos. So globally, I should recap the first one. Globally, we are number 4 if we calculate total global TV stations in 7 years.
First enabled to media.
Yeah, back to Magnum Mini, for instance. The Magnum Mini is not advertised ads. They always use unskippable ads. So they use YouTube as a TV kind of extension. So on that side, you can also use YouTube as a TV channel rather than a YouTube channel. So on that particular, it's very free from the client. There is a freedom from client to choose whether YouTube as a YouTube or YouTube as a TV channel. But some advertisers still think that YouTube is an extension of TV, which is we also proud of that.
I think our time is up. Thank you so much for participating. Questions or something, just feel free to reach out to me, Charlotte, or Prami, and we have more in-depth discussion over a couple of years. Thank you so much, guys.
Africa. Absolutely fantastic to be here. This is my first team event and really loving it here. Okay, so real-time marketing. What is it that and I want to introduce Disha Goenka. She's joined us. I'm 5 months old and she's 5 days old in Twitter. She just joined us from Google and she'll also be helping us around. Okay, great. So real-time marketing. Here's what we want to discuss. Number one, what is real-time marketing? If there are about, sorry? Somebody said something? No? Okay, so I'm used to kind of real-time listening as to whatever he's saying, so that's why I'm. So okay, so what is real-time marketing? What and why? If there are 260 people here in stream, if you ask each one of them what is real-time marketing, I think there'll be some of them will say we don't know, and if those who say we know will probably have a different definition of what real-time marketing is. So we'll just try to. It's not important to have one definition of real-time marketing, but we'll try to converge into something which is aligned across all of us. The other is why. I think the why is very important. Why is real-time marketing important? Why is all of a sudden everyone talking about it? Is it a buzzword? That's something we will explore. Is it just one of those things that comes as a fad and then goes away? If you look at the history of corporate bestsellers, there are a lot of fads that keep coming in, from time to time. There is synergy, there is re-engineering, there's so many fads that keep coming in. Is this a fad or is it here to stay? We'll explore that. And then if we all agree on the first 2 points that, hey, this is here to stay, it's not a fad, it's important, we know what it is, then we'll try to understand the how of real-time marketing. And this is again through, I don't have any magic wand here, we'll just try to explore, discuss and see how brands, agencies, companies can get together to do real-time marketing. And there are some tags for this discussion. Social media, we always have these tags and clouds. So what are the tags? These buzzwords, these words you'll hear quite often in this discussion in the next 45 to 50 minutes. It's mobile, moments, content marketing, social media. These are the kind of things you will hear, in the context of real-time marketing. So let me just start with a personal anecdote. Okay, before that, I'll just back up a bit. Real-time marketing, how many of you think it's a buzzword? And how many of you think if anybody thinks it's a buzzword, please raise your hand. Okay, no hand raised. How many of you think real-time, know what is real-time marketing? You've heard of real-time marketing? Just a show of hands. You heard just now? I don't know. We have to explore. I don't know. But have you heard of real-time marketing? Or everyone has? Okay. Okay, so it looks like nobody thinks it's a buzzword. At least nobody's raising their hand. So actually nobody thinks it's a buzzword is different from nobody raising their hand, right? So, but let's not get there. But okay, all of you have kind of heard of real-time marketing. Some of you have heard it real-time just 5 minutes back. And well, some of you want to know what this is. So let me give you a personal example of what I thought, is a great example of real-time marketing. And then we'll take it from there. So this was the 3rd of January. I was feeling very unhealthy after all the New Year festivities, and this was a Saturday, I remember. And I decided to buy one of those fitness trackers, Fitbit. So there was this model called Fitbit Force that I thought was a great one I should have, because it shows the distance, it tells me the calories, and I'm gonna be really super fit in 2014. Yeah. And do you know that all New Year resolutions these days end up at either buying a gadget or downloading an app? Think about it. Your New Year resolutions are in the context of apps or gadgets. That's what I had 4 or 5. I won't tell the other 4, but they were either about downloading an app or a gadget. So here, I wanted to buy this gadget, and I in Singapore could not find Fitbit Force. It was not available. So I called up Harvey Norman and all the other big retailers, and nobody had it. So I just tweeted, looking for a Fitbit Force, want to buy it. Anybody knows where I can find it? Simple, normal tweet, 3rd of January, Saturday afternoon. That's it, and I forgot about it. Now somebody sitting in India who I don't know, I didn't know this guy, he was following me on Twitter, tweeted back and he said, go to Jado Pado in Dubai. They have an e-website and they have Fitbit Force. So I went to the Jado Pado website. Well, they claimed they had Fitbit Force, but they didn't have any stocks. So I tweeted back and I said, hey, yeah, great website, thanks for letting me know, but they don't have Fitbit Force. Now Jado Pado was listening to this conversation, and Jado Pado tweeted right back, and they said, hey, we know you're looking for Fitbit Force, we don't have it, but we're gonna bring it pretty soon, so stay tuned. So that was a very positive experience for me. This is real-time marketing. Here's a brand, here's an e-store, they don't have the product, and yet they are connecting with me. Now what happened was, right at that moment, I would have gone for some other brand, job owner, some other brand. I said, no, if this brand has shown a determination to reach out to me, I'll wait for my Fitbit Force. And, but I tweeted back and I said, hey, by the way, do you realize you're missing out on all the traffic you could get with the New Year resolution. You know, this is the time you should be selling this device. Uh, Guess what happened after that? Fitbit was listening to this conversation, and Fitbit tweeted back to me, and they said, "Hey, you know, we understand that you want Fitbit. We are really sorry you can't get one, but we promise you we'll get it for you." And after that, I just stopped my hunt for the device because I just felt so good that these guys are giving me attention. And I said, I'm going to buy only Fitbit. There's no way I'm going to go anywhere else. The other thing I did was I went to the Jadupadu website and I bought a few other things over there because they're a Dubai-based e-retailer and they, you know, send stuff free to Singapore and they created a customer. Now something very interesting is happening over here. There are two or three things. One is, of course, they've, you know, the obvious thing, which is, you know, they made a customer connect, they were listening to the conversation, and it was just a positive experience. The second thing that's happening is, there were a few thousand, I calculated, between Jadupado, Fitbit, me, and that person who influenced me. Between the four of us, there were about 6,000 to 7,000 followers. And all these people probably would have seen this conversation. And hopefully they would have felt very positive about this product and this retailer. And of course, I bought a lot of other things from Jadupadu. That's bonus. In my mind, that was real-time marketing. Now, it's not a moment as big as the Ellen DeGeneres tweet, you know, which is tweeted thousands and thousands of time, and you know, Samsung benefits from it, or you know, or something like an Oreo, you know, where Super Bowl it goes dark and you know, dunk in the dark. It's not that big, but in my own little space, in my own little moment, this was a real-time marketing moment for me, for two brands. And I thought that's what, you know, more brands should be doing, and that's why real-time marketing is important. So that's my experience of what real-time marketing is. It's marketing where brands are connecting with consumers in everyday moments, in day-to-day moments, because these moments are happening on a regular basis throughout. Now, why are these moments happening? And I'll come to one of these things, which is mobile, right? Mobile, because you know what happens is, now you do not, as a consumer, you have a mobile, you do not wait to express your opinion, you know, at some other time. You know, if you are sitting here and you're feeling hot, you probably tweet about it, right? Now it's up to a brand to talk to you at this moment and say, hey, by the way, we have a solution for you. Or if you are running and you know, after that you want something after your run, you'll tweet about it immediately. So being able to reach out to people in the context of what they are doing, because they have this mobile, and they are tweeting and they are putting Facebook posts and so on all the time, that's what's important for brand.
Well,
I'm not that popular.
Yeah, I just want to, why and how, recruit.
Yeah. So Jadupadu, and I'm guessing this. So maybe that's what they were doing. Some brands do social media monitoring in a different way, which is they not only monitor their own brand, but they monitor their competitors' brand. So I'll give you an interesting example. Last month, Domino's in Australia actually monitors conversations for Pizza Hut. So, and you know, somebody tweeted about you know, the Pizza Hut pizza not being up to the standard that they expected, and Domino's jumped in and they said, hey, why don't you buy our pizza, Domino's pizza? And they gave a free pizza to that person. And all this is happening on Twitter, real time. And somebody said, hey, Pizza Hut, your move. Why don't you come in? And Pizza Hut didn't come in. And there was a few thousand people who saw that entire conversation. Domino's followers saw it, that customer who tweeted saw it, and all of a sudden it became a huge moment for Domino's. But the original tweet did not have Domino's in it, it had pizza in it. So Domino's was listening to that. Some brands do something very interesting. They just listen to not just the brand names, but what their brand stands for. There's a brand called ZQuil. It's a sleeping aid. So if you are kind of sleepless, you can actually take ZQuil and it helps you calm down and sleep. So, and on Twitter, you know, the hashtag why can't I sleep tonight is very popular over there. People mention it, but the fact is that they have whatever base they would have, you know, there will be a fatigue after that. And when the same base sees them tweeting about different products, the credibility of that probably takes a hit. What I would encourage brands to do is to listen to the conversation and, you know, worry less about social endorsers, but be a brand who is believed by the customers by listening to the conversation directly. In my case, for instance, there was no social endorser. No, I was just looking for a product. This guy who tweeted back at me was just a follower of mine who tweeted at me. He was not an endorser. He was not being paid to do this. And they just happened to listen in to this conversation. So it was not the social endorser scenario, but your point is valid. And I think the best thing for brands to do is to be plugged into the conversations that are happening for their brand on a real-time basis. And be in a space where people believe what they are saying actually is genuine, is actually meaningful. In fact, a lot of brands have this, they follow this Twitter strategy called give, take. What give, take means that you have 3 tweets where you